Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. Today I want to talk about the difference between resources and resourcefulness. I have a saying. Now, my friends know that I'm pretty much a minimalist when it comes to most things. I don't buy the most expensive guns. I don't buy the most expensive anything, really. I like quality. But I don't go for the doodads and knickknacks and hee-haws that I think are just unnecessary. And I have kind of a saying that I use sometimes about the idea that equipment is the most necessary thing for preparedness or survival, and that is, I say, don't be a gear steer. And I've been thinking about doing one on that for a while. Maybe since I've mentioned it now, I don't have to. Maybe I will later. I don't know. Those of you who know what a steer is kind of know what I'm talking about. It's something that looks like a bull, but something important has happened to it, so it's not a bull anymore. So if you're just hanging all sorts of equipment off of your and talking about the latest Guga that's going to make you, more prepared. I have a different way to look at things. I'm going to tell a little bit of a story of back when I was undercover. Uh, we were working now. I wasn't yet on the federal strike force. I was still with a local multi-agency undercover narcotics unit, and my partner and I had developed. We had an informant that had us pretty. Let me see. I don't know if I'm in the frame here right or not. Who cares, right? As long as you can hear me. Uh, who had he was a very good informant. He had inroads into all sorts of different areas of the city and different communities within it. Now this was back in the 70s, and back when cocaine was really first coming hard into the United States. It was somewhat new, even to law enforcement, but it was taking the country by storm, and it was what most agencies found themselves uh, uh, concentrating on. So anyway, we had this informant, and we were developing uh, a very good case, a very complex, it looked like it was going to go high level um, case on a particular individual. Now this person, I got to see how I want to explain this. Um, this this person was extremely tied in. He was tied into not the informant, but the person that we found out that we ended up working on. He owned some massage parlors around. He had inroads into organized crime. He had inroads into uh, mercenary groups. Very well connected, and just a whole web was coming off of him that we were looking to see how we were going to develop these cases. Well, one time we got called into our unit headquarters, kind of a secret place, and nobody knew where it was, and we went in there to go in and see the major. Major wants to see you guys. So we go in there, and we go in his office, and there's a couple of guys in suits sitting in his office. And we were a little bit surprised because nobody who wasn't in the unit was supposed to know where that unit was. And turned out they were a couple of feds. And I think I know what agency they were with, but I'm not sure I remember exactly, so I won't mention it, but it doesn't matter. The upshot of it is that they were accusing my partner and I of being dirty. And it took them a while to dance around that for a while and making all sorts of insinuations and oblique statements and stuff. They wouldn't come right out and say it, but what the upshot was, they had been trying to make a case on this guy that we were getting a case on and they'd been trying it for a long time, and they weren't making any headway. They had gone so far, and this guy lived in a big mansion in a big rich area of the city. They had gone so far as to approach the family that lived in the house across the street from him, rent that family's house from them, send that family to Europe on the dime of the taxpayers. Thank all of you taxpayers for the nice trip. I'm sure this family got I forget where, Spain or someplace, and put them up over there so that they could set up surveillance in this house. And I'm sure, I mean, we never got to go in the house to take a look, but I can imagine, because I know how these things go, I'm sure they had all sorts of telescopes and binoculars and all sorts of audio and visual surveillance, and the best that money can buy, which means that only the government has, just concentrated on this house, trying to see how they could make a case on this guy. Well, so they've been sitting in this house for a while, months apparently, not getting much of anything, because the guy was smart. And he didn't say things on the phone, and he didn't say things where he thought anything could pick him up. And they were making no headway, and all of a sudden, here comes me and my partner, a couple of scraggly-looking locals, and they didn't know who we were at first because of various things. We had our own ways to, keep things quiet and from people finding out who we were. And I don't know, maybe I will. Maybe I'll have the guru insert a picture of me here in a second. It's an old picture actually it's a picture that comes off my old ID card back when I was undercover. So if we do, you'll see what I look like back when I was young and pretty, and I think I was about 26, 27 at the time of this picture taken. So anyway, I'll have him stick it in right here. If he can. Okay. Well, anyway, that's if he did, that's what I looked like. If he wasn't able to, you'll just have to imagine that my hair was long and my beard and all that. So anyway, so they see my partner and I going in and out of this house. They find out finally who we were, because they're feds, and we had fake license plates and we had fake everything, but they're feds, they can find out. And of course their thought processes were, well, we haven't been able to make a case on this guy for 6 months. There's no way that these local yokels could do it. So the only, apparent explanation to them was that we were dirty. Well, of course, you can imagine our response to that. We told them pretty much where the rabbit sat in colorful language, and told our major that we didn't give our, rat's patoot who these guys thought they were, and they weren't going to come into our place, and, blah, 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 blah. You can imagine how it went, interagency rivalries and disputes and things like this. And later on, I ended up working in one of those organizations, and my opinion didn't change very much. So anyway, that was the thing. What we had been able to develop as a result of hard work, smarts, resourcefulness, understanding, street smarts, an understanding of how things work, we were able to be successful at that. Whereas these who relied on all the doodads and the fancy equipment and everything in the world, hadn't been able to. And I use this example every now and then when I talk about the difference between resources and actual resourcefulness. And while resources can be good, certainly, I'll go with the resourcefulness every time, because you'll always be able to find a way to do something if the first thing you're engaging in is your mind and not your not your supplies. Okay. I also should say, I probably should have said this at the beginning of this, but I put up a couple of new ones over on Patreon that I'm getting into a little deeper weeds over there. I put up one on who can you trust, and I put one up on informants. And both of these are, I deal with kind of sensitive, shall I say, information or situations, so I'm not putting them here on YouTube, at least for right now. I don't know if I will someday in the future or not, probably not, but I talk about some things that I think can be extremely important for people to keep in mind as things get dicier and dicier. So I am putting more of this stuff up over on Patreon. I encourage, and I should say, I've really been surprised how many people are coming over there. I really appreciate it. Thank you all. Welcome all of you who are over there on Patreon. The discussion, the questions, the back and forth is really interesting and also informative. Any of you who have interest in going deeper on the things that are going to be coming our way and important things to keep in mind, I find that I'm not going to be putting all that stuff here on YouTube, so please come over. Come over to Patreon. Cost you. I don't have layers or anything like that. I'm not good enough to do. I don't know. I don't understand that stuff. But what the heck, a buck, you know? It's just for what I don't really feel like I want to put broadcast here on YouTube. So if you come over there, I'd love to see you. Welcome to you over there. And seemed like there was something else I was going to say. Oh, yeah. For those of you who have asked, autographed books, there is an address up here in the About section, a P.O. box. For everybody who wants autographed books, just send me $15 per book that you want. Mail it, send a check. I don't take PayPal or anything like that. Sorry, but I just don't. I don't know how to do it. I don't have time to learn. And so just send me a check for $15 for every book that you want. Tell me what you want me to sign in there. If it's to you, if it's to a friend, just don't ask me to lie or say any bad words, and I'll be happy to write in there what you want. I know you all wouldn't do that anyway. But I'll leave it at that. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And our preparations, although equipment and good guys and resources, it can be extremely important. Nothing beats resourcefulness. So you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.